Good afternoon, celebrating 25 years of independent and fearless journalism. Hello and good afternoon and welcome to the International Women's Day edition of the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from Joy 99.7 FM in Accra at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including ATL FM, Cape Coast, Radio Max Takrady, Jubilee FM in Keta, and Kekeli Radio in Ho. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoinline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed App, DigiBank, Let's Go, and Telesol 4G, Just a Touch. And coming up, death toll of Kintampo dawn accident rises to 29 as rescuers and family members struggle to identify victims burnt beyond recognition.
To maybe find out from the medical people if they have a way by which we can decipher one body from the other. Otherwise, we will have no option left to us. Mass burial. It's quite unfortunate.
We'll be live from the ground as we try to unravel circumstances that led to the deadly crash. High-achieving Ghanaian women share tips on how the country can ensure that women play greater roles in society, including pushing to have first female president.
Engagement with men is key. At the end of the day, most of the systems are run by men.
Wives submit, and it is to your own husband.
Right.
I don't know when we got to interpret it as every woman submitting to every society.
As for female president, yes, it would be nice. I don't think Ghana is ready.
We will hear from Law Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, the NCCE's Josephine Nkrumah, and former EC Chairperson Charlotte Osei as Joy platforms mark Women's Day. Meanwhile, former Gender Minister Oteko Jaba challenges Akufo-Addo administration to pass Affirmative Action Bill as she throws a challenge to women who may be complaining about not getting a seat at the table.
If nobody will invite you to the table, take your chair to the table. Invite yourself. When you're fighting for freedom, nobody's going to give it to you.
Former President Clinton breaks his silence on his affair with White House intern Monica Lewinsky, saying it was to manage his anxieties.
It was extended to 30 rounds, and here's something to take your mind off of. Sometimes we do things we shouldn't do, and it was awful what I did.
Stay with us for the details on his wife Hillary Clinton's reaction. And in sports.
Well, sports journalist Echo Asma questions Siki Akuno's response to questions regarding the absence of John Boy from his squad.
And later, Joy FM Conquer Ghana tour proves to be a hit with patrons across the age divide as participants as young as 8 and as old as 75 years took up the challenge in conquering some of the country's historical sites in 48 hours.
You know, I love traveling, and I told my children, this my special birthday. I want nothing but a trip.
My name is Emma Morrison. Let's settle for the details now. Now, the death toll of the Monday dawn accident on the Kintampo Tamale Highway is now 29. Firemen, the police and family members are struggling to identify the victims said to have been burnt beyond recognition. Eyewitnesses say the two vehicles, a Grandbird bus and a Sprinter, were engulfed in flames after the crash. Trapped passengers who could not escape were burnt. Here is the Kintampo Divisional Crime Officer DSP Prosper providing details of the accident.
Woke up this morning about 3 a.m. to receive a report that there was accident on the Kintampo Buffet Highway. We rushed to the place about 5 or so minutes drive from Dawa number 2 going towards Buffet, and we found a Grandbird bus. For now, we cannot get the number because it's bent and we cannot retrieve the number plate. So we cannot tell you the number. And another Pinter bus with the registration number AS 180180. They collided, that is head-on collision.
Municipal Chief Executive of the area, Michael Sarkodie Balfour, says his outfit will have to discuss with hospital authorities how the child bodies can be identified.
We don't have any option except to maybe find out from the medical people if they have a way by which we can decipher one body from the other. Otherwise, we will have no option left to us than to, visit what happened, unfortunately, last year. Mass burial. It's quite unfortunate. Quite unfortunate. We will have to work together. All the agencies.
Does such situation bring burden on you as municipal, as district?
Seriously. This, as you have seen, occurred within my jurisdiction. And so I have a responsibility to ensure that the bodies are kept well, pending preparation for whatever form of burial that we have to undertake, whether mass or whatever. We also have some legal issues involved here. We don't want to do things and later on family members of the deceased will come with lawsuits and all that. Why did you do ABC? So
now the municipal ambulance officer has been speaking to Joy News on what they found when they arrived at the scene.
We had a call that accident happened at Gulumpe area. So I quickly mobilized my men and then we dispatched with my men to the scene. And we got here the two bus, U-turn bus and then sprinter bus. They collide. The U-turn bus is from Boku.
So how many people have you been able to transport?
Yes, for the people we are able to rescue, we had 6 people out of the total number of the 2 buses. Okay. And then 1 is okay. We transported 5 to the Kintampo Municipal Hospital.
Meanwhile, the chairperson of the National Commission on Civic Education, Josephine Nkrumah, says there is an urgent need for punitive measures for traffic regulation breaches to be enforced. She spoke on the Super Morning Show.
I think we need to begin to enforce the laws because you have people who should have been charged with negligence and manslaughter, but they are going scot-free, and this has contributed in no small way to the kind of slaughterhouse that a lot of it has to do with attitudes, and of course it also has to do with the quality of the kind of vehicles that we find on our roads, the kind of tires we patronize these days. There's a lot of second-hand tires, and we need some policy decisions on that in terms of banning these things, because if you look at the rate of people losing their lives on the road, it is frightening. And for me, who is always on the highways of Ghana, you see it firsthand, the kind of recklessness associated with driving.
And chairperson of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, is attributing some of these crashes to miscalculations in overtaking.
And as a teacher, I've been taking interest in checking which of the drivers has a good sense of mathematics. Because sometimes in overtaking, you can tell it is poor calculation. Yeah. So we may not think of these things offhand, but in truth, some of the poor decisions are based on a poor sense of calculation as to whether I can overtake this vehicle and be safe.
Or whether I even need to overtake this vehicle.
Or whether indeed you need to overtake the vehicle at all. Sometimes I also find, because today is International Women's Day, it's a point I'll make. Have you ever noticed when you are driving that when you overtake a driver, particularly a taxi driver, whatever it takes,
he must overtake you.
Overtake the woman. Yes. Whatever it takes.
Just because you're a woman.
Yes. So there's something there. And then we also have people who ordinarily don't have much power, but when they sit behind powerful vehicles, feel powerful.
True.
Right.
And then they bully smaller vehicles on the road and so on. I think it's a multiplicity of factors.
Well, remember to arrive alive and be careful on the road. Now, let us get on the phone line to speak to our correspondent, Anas Sabit, who is on the ground. Hello, Anas.
Hello.
Anas, what is the latest and what can you tell us?
No. But I speak to you. We are on our way to the Kintampo Minister Hospital together with the regional minister, and the bench studies have been kept in a police vehicle heading towards the morgue of the Kintampo Municipal Hospital. And we have some police officers also left on the ground to control traffic, so we'll be able to prevent any further accidents at that same spot. For now, the fire on board the vehicles have also been put off by the fire service. The breakdown, as we know for now, is that there were 35 people on board the two vehicles in some bus traveling from Boko to Kuchima with some traders, and then loaded with some vegetables, green pepper and then tomato, were on board that in some bus. And then the center, which is also said to have been driving from Kumasi with registration number AS1801, also 18, also heading towards the north. Now, 27 passengers on board the two vehicles have been going to recognition. Out of which there are two children, one pregnant woman, and then one police officer who has been identified. We have some two dead bodies also dead, but those bodies have been identified. There were 6 survivors. Out of these 6, one person has gotten hurt, but the 5 others who are in critical condition have been rushed to the hospital.
Well, thank you very much. Anna Sabet is our correspondent on the ground. We'll be bringing you more updates. And now, as International Women's Day is being celebrated across the globe, some high-achieving Ghanaian women have been making a strong case for women to go all out and achieve their dreams. It's been 25 years since Ghana affirmed her pledge to the Beijing Platform for Action to commit to gender equality. Although they admit there are still cultural bottlenecks that make it difficult for women to rise in society, they believe their ability to attain success should be a motivation to all. Former EC chairperson Charlotte Osei today hosted a special edition of the Super Morning Show, and to show that had law professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu and NCCE's Josephine Nkrumah. While the law professor believes women are on the right track to achieve greater success with time, Ms. Nkrumah wants the involvement of men to push and to create more opportunities for women. Listen to the two of them.
We are doing better. We could do better. But on the whole, there's a lot more awareness of female capabilities and the female capacities. And I am convinced that with persistence and with time, we will have the parity that we are talking about. We suffer a lot of historical disadvantages. And it takes time to overcome historical advantages. You don't just sit, you work at it. As for female president, yes, it would be nice. I don't think Ghana is ready. Whatever people say, secretly they are not. It should be more evolution than revolution, but we need to accelerate the evolution. And I think one of the things that we do well as women is to talk to each other about it. Try and, you see all of the talk about supporting each other, helping women rise up. We need to have more engagement with the men, because at the end of the day, who is on the other end of the stick? Is it the sense that men feel that the more empowered women become, is the more disempowered men become? You see, I think men come from a position of privilege, and unless the privilege is taken from you, you don't understand what it's like to be underprivileged. You heard law professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, NCCE chairperson Josephine Nkrumah, speaking to former EC chairperson Charlotte Osei on the Super Morning Show today. Meanwhile, former Gender Minister Otiko Jaba has challenged the Akufo-Addo administration to pass the Affirmative Action Bill. She spoke on the AM show on Multi TV.
We need to also change or reform our laws. For example, the Affirmative Action Bill. This is the month of Ghana's birthday, and this is the women's birthday. So what is stopping the government and parliament from passing the Affirmative Action Bill this month as a birthday to all Ghanaians, because the development of women is a national issue. If every woman is educated, there will be no man who will not be educated, because no educated woman would leave her son out. It's important that we understand that women's issues are not limited to women. Women's issues are a national issue.
The former gender minister also threw a challenge to women who may be complaining about not getting a seat at the table.
All the women in this country, and we are the majority. The rest of the minority are born by us and are nurtured by us. Look at the work we put in to bring up our sons and daughters. Then you grow up and you say that I should not be at the table. What I want to say to these women today is, if nobody will invite you to the table, take your chair to the table. Invite yourself. There is no free lunch. When you're fighting for freedom, nobody's going to give it to you. You fight till the day you die. And so if I give birth to my sons and daughters, I have the right to be at the table. And if nobody will give it to me, I will take it.
Well, that was former Gender Minister Otiko Jaba there. Now let's go on the phone lines to speak to Mamiesi Thompson, who is at a press conference organized by the Affirmative Action Bill Coalition. Hello, Mamiesi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Emma.
That's great. So what concerns has the group raised with respect to the bill?
The group fears that the bill may not be passed before Parliament rises. That is why they are trying to pile on pressure on government, especially Parliament, so that the bill can be laid and then passed into law. Some of the concerns they've raised is the bill went to Cabinet in 2019, but then there were some issues that were raised and then sent back to the Gender Ministry to have issues cleared out. However, the Gender Ministry also had to take it back to the Attorney General's Department for some corrections to be made. And since then, the bill hasn't gone back to Parliament for it to be laid and then, debated and then passed into law. So they are saying that in this month of March, and especially today being the International Women's Day, they want to create more awareness of the bill, and also to ensure that Parliament, raises it in Parliament, so that the bill work can be started on the bill so that it can be passed into law. And some of the decisions they've taken to ensure that the bill is passed, is have roundtable discussions with like-minded groups, and also engage with the Gender Ministry so that they know the issues that are there with the bill that can be corrected and then passed immediately.
Well, many thanks, Mamiesi Thompson. Now, police in the Volta region is interrogating 4 persons arrested in connection with the murder of Assembly member for Zogakope South electoral area, Marcus Ajali. The Assembly member was shot and killed in his home on 1st March by unknown assailants who made away with an unspecified sum of money. News of his murder sparked spontaneous protests, with residents blocking the Accra Plau Road at Zogakope Bridge and burning tires, causing toll booth operators to flee. We have details of a statement issued by the police, but first, my colleagues Komla Adom and Fred Kwame Asante visited the area and report more than 50% of revenue from road tolls was lost due to the protests.
It's been only 10 minutes of observing traffic flow at the toll booth close to the Zogakope Bridge along the Accra-Flau Highway, but we've counted more than 30 vehicles pulling through the toll booths here. Economic benefit to residents and business owners here is immeasurable. District Chief Executive for South Tongue, Emmanuel Agama, underscores the importance of a highway.
This road is ECOWAS road, where we have international, other people from neighboring countries passing through. From Abidjan through Accra to Lomé, Cotonou and Lagos. It's a corridor that most passengers applied, and therefore it's an important road to us as a district.
Now, if you're wondering why anyone would target this stretch, then this is why.
This is our way of recording our displeasure towards what has been happening in the community.
So on the 1st and 2nd of March, angry residents of Zogakope poured onto the streets, mounted roadblocks, and impeded traffic flow for several hours.
They actually amassed themselves here around 9 a.m., blocked the road to vehicular traffic, and then to somehow register their displeasure and then show to the world that they are not happy with operations of the police here. So there was no movement here on Sunday from 9 a.m. to about 1 p.m. when the opinion leaders came in to speak to them and then advised that they should open the unauthorized roadblock that they mounted here on Sunday.
Joy News has been told the toll booth operators had to flee the booths during the disturbances to avoid being caught up in it. The cumulative effect of those actions of the youth are a target of 4,582 cedis, for example, on Sunday was not realized, so they were only able to raise an amount of 2,825 cedis, a shortfall of 1,700 cedis plus. Also on Monday, a target of 4,974 cedis was not met. The operators were only able to realize 3,609 cedis. Altogether, in excess of 2,700 cedis in revenue was lost over the 2 days due to the protests here. Though the road is now open to traffic, there are fears the residents could return to block it again. But DCE Emmanuel Agama says there are adequate measures to ensure the international route does not suffer any more blockades. Komla Adum and Fred Kwame Asari's report from Sugakofa in the Volta region.
Well, in a statement issued by the Volta Region Police PRO, Corporal Prince Dogbache, the service says it has become necessary to review operational and administrative protocols at the Sugakope Police Station. Here are excerpts.
The statement says 4 persons have been arrested on suspicion of their involvement in the killing of the assemblyman for the Sugakope South electoral area. The 4 are currently assisting police investigation and will be duly arraigned. The police is working assiduously in partnership with all relevant stakeholders to arrest anyone involved in the killing of the assemblyman and also calls on the public for support. In another development, 2 police officers have been arrested and are currently in detention following the disappearance of one service rifle at the Sugakope police station on March 7, 2020. The Regional Police Command has directed that the 2 suspects are quickly transferred to the regional headquarters to assist investigation. The police says investigation so far does not suggest any link between the missing weapon and the murder of the assemblyman. It clarifies that the weapon in question disappeared on March 7, 2020, whereas the unfortunate killing of the assembly member happened on 1st March 2020.
Meanwhile, former President John Mahama is urging the police to expedite action in pursuit of the perpetrators. Mr. Mahama led a team of NDC officials to console the family of the bereaved over the weekend.
The least we can do is to condole with you and ask you to accept what God has done. But we must seek justice for him. And we call on the security services to make sure that they redouble their efforts and find out whoever were behind this action and bring them to justice. And we will not relent. If by the time we have the election, the people have not been found, when our government comes into power, we will continue to pursue the case until we find out who did it.
Well, this is the International Women's Day edition of the Midday News with me, Emma Morrison. We are taking a short break, but before that, stories just gone by. Death toll from Kintampo dawn accident rises to 29 as rescuers and family members struggle to identify victims burnt beyond recognition. And high-achieving Ghanaian women share tips on how the country can ensure that women play greater roles in society, including pushing to have the first female president. Well, still to come, former President Clinton breaks his silence on his affair with White House intern Monica Lewinsky, saying it was to manage his anxieties.
It was extended to 30 rounds, and here's something to take your mind off of. Sometimes we do things we shouldn't do, and it was awful what I did.
And later, Joy FM Conquer Ghana tour proves to be a hit with patrons across the age divide as participants as young as 8 and as old as 75 years took up the challenge in conquering some of the country's historical sites in just 48 hours.
You know, I love traveling, and I told my children, this my special birthday. I want nothing but a trip.
UMB was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation over the past 45 years. We've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products, and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
Good things come in two, Sampa. You know your chamber quarter. And Nunti, from the second month of the year, for 2 months, DSTV is giving you 2 months DSTV access subscription instead of one when you buy a DSTV Zapper. Now for you, yes, step you up more than last month. Just pay for a higher package and DSTV will step you up to the one above that from 40 Ghana cedis all month long. SMS DSTV to 1731 and we will call you back or call 0302 740 540. DSTV, feel every moment.
And you're welcome back to the Midday News. Najeli has the sports.
Well, in sports, Black Stars coach C.K. Akona asked a journalist if John Boy was his brother, whilst responding to questions about why the Mets defender was left out of Ghana's squad to face Sudan. Sports journalist Eko Asma has questioned the Black Stars coach's response to the question and the decision to leave out the defender who scored the winner for his side this weekend.
I took exception to him mocking a journalist asking a question about John Boy's absence from the list. And that was a legit question. And he got influenced by somebody who making certain comments, and he repeated those comments. That, is he your brother? Is that why you're asking? That's disrespectful. Because it's a legit question. The John Boy plays in France. He played better than some of the players that have been called. His stats this season are much better than some of the players that have been called for the same positions. So it was a legit question. And CK did not show respect to the journalist by asking if it was his brother. And then somebody also said,
brother-in-law, he said, yeah.
No, first he asked if it was his brother. And then somebody made a comment which he repeated. Is it your brother-in-law? Is that why you're asking that? It's very disrespectful. And they laughed about it, as though it's funny. That they're clowning over there with that.
And that's it for sports.
Well, thank you so much, Najeli. Now, from the late Komla Dumor to the BBC's Akwesi Sapon, many great people with great talent, mostly men, have passed through the multimedia group. But so have women. The platform provides a platform for growth and the development of talent. As we celebrate 25 years of broadcasting, former news anchor Jifa Bampo shares her experience working with Joy News.
The company has had to grow and develop policies that favor women who are in a unique situation, married, single mother, have children, have a family to look after. It's not easy because the broadcast times can't really be changed. But I would say and give credit to the management that they were always sensitive to women. For this, I would always doff my hat off for Kwesi Chumbo, Echikwam. If you went to them with your unique need, they would at least urge your manager to try find a way to help you.
Well, that was Jifa Bampo, former news anchor here at Joy News. Now, age did not hold back patrons of the Joy FM Conquer Ghana tour as participants as young as 8 and as old as 75 took up the challenge in conquering some of the country's historical sites in 48 hours. The tour, which forms part of activities marking the Ghana month, took participants to the Central, Ashanti, Bono East and Savannah regions, leaving them in awe of tourist attractions the country has to offer. Now, Joy News editor Arba Kumsin joins the trip and has come through with this report.
Around Ghana in 48 hours, that was the challenge the Joy FM Conquer Ghana tour offered, and more than 60 people signed up for the encounter, including 75-year-old Charlotte Arabasam.
You know, I love traveling. And I told my children, this my special birthday. I want nothing but a trip. And I heard the Joy trip on the radio whilst driving. So I told my kids, buy me the ticket. I want to go with them.
The first stop was at the Cape Coast Castle in the Central region, where tour guides led the team through the poorly ventilated dungeons where slaves were held captive by the colonialist.
They were guarded again from the dungeons. They would chain them together. They would take them all the way to the door of no return.
This story has been told several times in history books, But for the Conquer Ghana patrons, this experience hit close to home.
Everybody who comes to this tour and being told of all those historical accounts, you definitely at a point in time get emotionally at least involved in there, and you might feel letting some few tears out.
The team was also led to Asinmanso, where slaves were often brought on foot to be headed to the castle, where they were auctioned before being shipped off. Our next lesson in history was at the Ashanti region's Menchia Palace Museum, where the region's rich culture has been very well preserved, and our team did not lose sight of that.
The way they've preserved the Ashanti kingdom, the regalias, their cloth, their pictures, their fridges that they use 16, 20 years now, I'm so marveled. And I like the way they've preserved that rich culture.
I've seen things since 18 times that I couldn't believe that is the original. Everything is very original. I'm really impressed.
History lessons over, we headed to the Kintampo waterfalls in the Buna East region, where the patrons took up the challenge of walking down a flight of over 200 steps to the banks of the waterfall, as well as the canopy walkway. Our final destination was the Savannah region for a safari experience at the Mole National Park, where participants observed elephants and crocodiles in their natural habitat. Our last stop was at Larabanga, where the oldest mosque in West Africa, built in Sudanese architectural style, is sited. One of the youngest participants, 8-year-old Dorothy Ejay, tells me, after reading about this popular building in history books in class, visiting the mosque with the Conquer Ghana team made more meaning for her.
There was also a big tree that is close to Larabanga Mosque. And in that tree, my history teacher told me that when the man died, they buried him, they lived inside that tree. So if you are taking a picture, you survive. But I asked one of the men, and they said that it's not just my job, the man that saved their life and did it for them.
For those who may want to come on the Conquer Ghana tour next time, what do you have to tell them?
I just say that they should try and convince others that they should come to join the Conquer Ghana.
Well, that was a report by Joy News' editor Araba Kumson, and here she is with the social media.
Exactly. There's Kintampo, hashtag Kintampo is trending because earlier this morning there was a fatal crash on that road, and Dr. Ibe Bolabed says Kintampo Road slowly becoming the Bermuda Triangle, and Kelewele Joint says another accident has happened on the Kintampo Road and people have been burnt to death. This is really sad. And Sergio says, souls gone on the Kintampo Road accident, just like that. May God protect us from such tragedies.
Exactly. May God protect us from the tragedies, and you can stay alive with Arrive Alive. Now, that's it for the International Women's Day edition of the Midday News. Our top story, death toll from Kintampo dawn accident rises to 29 as rescuers and family members struggle to identify victims burnt beyond recognition. Now, for more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good day. My name is Emma Morrison.